property. By this time, there should have been all these giant new hotels and shops and restaurants and condos. And we're even going to build 2 brand new squares over here to mimic the squares in downtown. Well, guess what? Some of you probably already thought about this, but that was in 2007, right? Yeah, what do you think happened to our country? Yeah, 2008. You know, you can hear that bomb noise. Yeah, there goes the economy. There went this giant project over here. It's, you know, basically been sitting like this ever since. Of course, now. Hey, by the way, this vessel right here actually has an air draft right now of 175 feet. So about 10 feet short of the bottom of that bridge at high tide. Also, right now it's not quite high tide, so they'll have even a little bit, even more clearance than that. But yeah, it's still going to be pretty close. More than likely you'll notice as we go by, they have these mastheads up there where they have all the lights for the ship. And if you look really closely, you'll see these mastheads that actually were able to fold down flat just so they can make sure they fit underneath this bridge right here. But there you go, guys. Got a good view of this vessel. You can see they can be loaded down a whole lot more than they are right now. You got a good view of their bulbous bows sticking out the front end of this ship. That big red nose you see there helps this vessel move through the water with more efficiency, saving on fuel, mostly at their higher speeds. And then, of course, you'll notice that there is a tugboat along this side. There was one on the other side. You'll also see another tugboat tied up to the stern of this ship here in just a second. Also, folks, take a close look at those containers stacked way up high on that ship. You're going to notice the couple of rows on the top there are only hooked into each other. They're not actually... Oh, hey, Laura K. Moran saying hi to us over there. Cap Trey saying hi back to him. And, so, yeah, look at those containers. You'll notice they're hooked in like a bunch of big Lego bricks. They do this on purpose because, look at this vessel gets into some really heavy seas, pitching and rolling back and forth. They want some of these upper containers to be able to fall off that ship. Because if that happens, there's going to be, of course, it's going to be less top-heavy, right? Meaning that ship has a better chance of surviving that storm rather than just trying to save every single container on board, right? In fact, that happened twice recently this year. Over off the coast of Australia a few months ago, a container ship lost about 80 containers. Then off the coast of North Carolina, I think it was in January, one of these container ships lost 73 containers off the ship. And they were very concerned because one of those containers was full of sulfuric acid. It's still floating out there in the Atlantic somewhere. But yeah, check this out. The Edward J. Moran, that right there is one of the most powerful tractor tugs we have in the port right now. The Edward J. Moran can put out right around 6,500 horsepower. They also have sea drives, and you can see they have that really thick line attached to the stern of this ship. And no, they're not being towed by the OOCL Berlin. What this tugboat is doing right here is called a transverse arrest. That is a fancy way of saying the tugboat is helping to slow this ship down as it comes upriver. It also helps at times to maneuver the stern of this vessel as they're moving around the bends in the river right here. In fact, you can see him right now maneuvering a little bit here, more than likely to help maneuver that stern around there. Of course, answer. Absolutely, yes. So she's asking if these size vessels fit into the Norfolk port, and yes, they absolutely do. In fact, a lot of these container ships come straight from Norfolk here to Savannah. They kind of hop up the coast, picking up cargo, dropping off cargo, things like that, and then they'll head back across to Asia or wherever they're from. But consider, well, actually, I'm going to tell you more about that here in a second, because right now we're about to see another ship up close here called the Interlink Acuity. This is obviously another bulk carrier, like I was telling you about earlier, but also you can see exactly what it is they're loading. Folks, you see that giant beige-colored pile of stuff right there? Folks, I love pointing this stuff out because what you're looking at right there is currently the world's largest pile of Captain Crunch cereal. So it just loaded, oh wow, somebody dropped the chair. They're learning that news. Yeah, this is Captain Crunch here, folks. They are actually loading it inside this ship right now. You can see all that sugary goodness, that stuff coming out the top right there. Of course, I'm just completely messing with all of you folks, right? Of course, nobody believe me on that. Some days people hop up and run over here wanting to get a snap pictures of that giant pile of Captain Crunch. No, folks, that's a big old pile of wood chips they're loading inside this ship right now. And these wood chips are going to be sent to Turkey to be turned into particle board. The particle board's been sold to companies like IKEA, Target, Walmart. And then you have those big concrete domes there. Those domes are full of 2% milk. No, not really. She caught on to that right away. No, those domes are actually full of compressed wood pellets. Pellets being sent mainly to Germany and the UK to be burned into wood pellet-based stoves. Then let's take a look at this ship here. It's way up high in the mast said you'll see that American flag flying way up high there, right? Well, if you see that American flag way up high on a ship like that, you know that that is a foreign flag vessel. They are flying that American flag as a courtesy because they're here in an American port right now. You can look off the stern there and see their flag of origin flying on the stern, which that is the Marshall Islands flag right there. And Majuro is a port city in the Marshall Islands. And so that is what's called a flag of convenience right there, folks. Not to get too deep into this, but basically places such as the
all the way up top on the back thing there.
And other places around the world have very lax tax laws and maritime regulations.
Oh, okay.
So even if a company builds a ship in, say, the Netherlands or in the U.S., a lot of times they'll take it to those countries and register it there, because then they'll only have to follow those countries' laws and tax codes rather than their actual country of origin, or, you know, wherever the actual owner of that vessel is. So those are what's called flags of convenience, and that's why you very rarely see any of these big ships registered here in the U.S. Too many tax laws and too many regulations for it.
She's coming around with the pictures.
But guys, take a look. See that big black pile of stuff there? That's a big imported pile of anthracite. It's like a really high-grade type of coal that they use a lot in water filtration systems. And then you got that colored pile over there. That's a big old pile straight from Africa of bauxite. Bauxite is used mainly in the production of aluminum, or, you know, aluminium, depending on where you're from.